What's going on? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy TNL, and I'm kind of switching up the topic today. You know, I feel like the current state of the world is pretty interesting right now, especially in America. When you have the President of the United States posting a video of a former president as a monkey, a former president and the former lady as a monkey, it kind of just makes you think like, wow, we've really gone to certain new lows. And I feel like people all around the world are looking at us and they're like, wow, like this is definitely a new low, and you feel like we've made such progress, and you just wonder how this will set us back, or if this will set us back. So I decided to make a video today on what the Epstein case has taught me about life today. So you've probably heard about the release of, the recent release of millions of pages of files related to the Epstein case, right? Documents showing his work, connections to powerful people, emails to powerful people, and how he managed to navigate these systems for so long. And it was a story that shook the world, not only because it was isolated, but because it exposed something that's way deeper about how money, how power, and human behavior interact. So we're going to talk more about this today. I want to start off with money doesn't make you moral, right? But it just reveals who you are. And listen, Epstein had wealth and he had connections that kept him protected for many years, that got him off with easy deals, that, he doesn't have to do jail time for as much. But money didn't make him good. It didn't make him wise. It didn't save him from consequences as much as you would think. What it did was it gave him power, which he obviously used irresponsibly. But this isn't just about Epstein, right? Money doesn't create character for people, but it just shines a light on who you already are, deep down. People will assume that wealth, will equal virtue, but in this case, it's just simply not true. Being wealthy doesn't make you better. It just exposes your value faster and who you are faster. And dude, like these people are genuinely just lame. Like strictly just lame. Lames with money. Power structures protect themselves first. One of the most disturbing lessons that I've really picked up from all this is how deeply entrenched, networks can insulate powerful people. Epstein had connections across politics, across finance, social circles, famous people, whatever, you name it. And those connections sometimes work to protect him or, delay consequences. And this whole entire thing just shows something way broader. It just shows that people in positions of influence tend to look out for each other, even when they shouldn't, even when they know it's wrong. Why? Because, systems don't fail because of one bad person. Systems fail when the people inside prioritize themselves over justice, their self-interest over justice. And that's the thing, like the government, the current administration right now are bending their neck back to protect themselves, to protect everybody in the current administration right now, whether it's Cash Patel, whether it's, or not Dan Bongino anymore, he left, whether it's Pam Bondi, whether it's Trump, wherever. Because if they don't, then they all fall. So they're going to bend their necks backwards just to try to protect each other because they're in it together. The files and, the disclosures have not only revealed that Epstein's crimes, but a web of connections, some questionable, some denied, many yet unclear, right? And the world watched as names popped up. They saw Michael Jackson, they see Jay-Z, they see Pusha T, denials were issued, people backtracked, reputations were defended. Bill Gates showed up as well, Elon Musk. A lot of people will lie. Not always because they're evil, but because they're afraid or because the truth threatens their status. And we've learned a lot from this. We've learned that reputation is prioritized above honesty. Fear of consequence can silence accountability. Truth often costs more than just lying, right? And that's the broader life lesson that applies to the relationships you're going to have in your life, the careers and the communities you're going to be a part of. Systems can fail, even with evidence right in front of them. Before Epstein was finally arrested in 2019, there were years and years of allegations dating back to all the way into the 1990s, I believe. That was the early signs of him being tracked by the government, or I believe it was the FBI, whoever was doing the investigation on him. They had early signs, they had early warnings, opportunities to act, but they didn't. They sat on it. Why? You probably wonder why. Why do they do this? There are these moments where systems didn't respond effectively and investigations got stalled, deals were cut, victims were minimized. And this teaches something very painful, because it's like, just because something isn't true doesn't mean it'll be acted upon. Just because something is true doesn't mean it will be acted upon. Systems can be slow, I get it. Flawed or biased. But they make it seem like justice isn't automatic. It requires people who are brave enough to see clearly and do what's right even when it's hard. And this says something about life, that your truth matters. But you may have to fight and fight and fight and fight for it. Transparency and accountability are rare, but extremely, extremely powerful. The release of millions of pages and documents, including email records, financial ties, and undisclosed relationships, wasn't very automatic. It took pressure, people to advocate for it, law changes, and, sustained scrutiny. And that shows two vital truths. Transparency changes things. And accountability doesn't happen without effort. But guess what? It should. It should. But sometimes you gotta push, because these people are gonna band together and they're gonna stick together. And they're not gonna wanna let what they built fall apart, because they know when one domino goes, then the rest of them do. Life doesn't reveal its pattern on its own. You have to pull back the curtain. You got to pull back the curtain on all the evil and crazy atrocities these people have committed. In your own life, whether relationships, business, or personal growth, you often have to insist on honesty rather than wait for it. It's better to be honest up front, so you don't have to deal with none of the negative things that can come from it. This whole thing also did teach me that people are very complicated. And so are the truths that they hide. because some revelations have shown very confusing connections, denials, and contradictions. Like people appearing in files who say they were never involved or say that they never actually went to the island. But in an email, it seems like they're begging to go. Elon Musk, I'm sorry. Um, this teaches another lesson. People aren't simple. The truth isn't always clear, and reality isn't black and white. And yet, we want very clear answers. We want villains and heroes labeled very blatantly, so it's not confusing. But life isn't like that sometimes. Sometimes they're hidden. And sometimes it takes a little bit of digging to really find out who's really who. What does this mean for all of you? What does this mean for all of us? The case of Epstein and all this is disturbing and it's tragic and it's very, very complex. But underneath it, there's real life things that you can take away from it. Number one, money will not fix who you are. Money will not change who you are. It'll only amplify who you are. Power protects itself unless it's challenged. These people in government, they're going to keep rallying for each other until everybody stands up and they do something about it. People lie when truth hurts them, even when it shouldn't. Over and over again, you hear the president lying about things because he knows the truth of what's actually happening is killing him on the inside. Systems can fail without accountability. And we're shown every day when you see a person from ICE is killed another American civilian. It's just going to fail and keep getting worse without the right people facing the right repercussions. Transparency is a muscle that you have to exercise. And the truth is complicated and it's not simplistic. This whole entire story probably has layers that we haven't even seen yet. It has stories that haven't even been told yet that we don't know about and are just reaching the tip of the iceberg on. So, will we learn everything? I don't know. But I think slowly it'll trickle out. And slowly we'll still be able to really understand what atrocities these people have committed and how we can move on from it and how we can grow and never let something like this happen. Because the scary thing is, Epstein out of the picture, stuff like this could still be happening. And that's what I worry about. These aren't just headlines, but they're lessons about how humans actually behave. And if you want clarity in your own life, relationship, business, success, reputation, the first step is to notice your patterns and not just your emotions, to question narratives and not just accept them, and to seek truth and not just more comfort in your life. Because what you learn from this isn't just about power and corruption and just evil people. It's about how to see the world more clearly through your eyes. Thank you.